All right, so this what if scenario was kind of voted on my Patreon. This one kind of won by a big margin. Like it didn't like landslide, but it definitely was the clear winner by the end of the whole thing. And that is, what if Mordor and Isengard existed in Warhammer: The Old World? So we're going to be taking those two kingdoms, dumping them in the Warhammer Old World universe. And could they actually survive? You know, the Isengard and Mordor may be united, although in the books it's kind of more alluded to that it's more like it's like a tense alliance and more like a Cold War kind of going on between the two. But we're going to go more movie route because that's more widely known. So Mordor and Isengard are united as a front, and even with this alliance, could the powers of Sauron and Saruman actually hold their own in the world of Warhammer: The Old World? So let's get this out of the way right now. There's a big chance that Sauron and Saruman, those two are going to be it was really clear that it was only through the sheer will of the uniting of man that Isengard and Mordor fell, and even with the alliance of the orcs, elves, Jesus, and also a lot of luck that Mordor and Isengard were defeated. But having said that, though, they were just basically trouncing everyone left and right, and it was only through sheer willpower and a united front that managed to stop them. Well, guess what? Warhammer: The Old World is nothing but united fronts. Here's the thing: the big Sauron, and I talked about this before, of what if the Empire of Man existed in Lord of the Rings? The Empire of Man would be on Sauron's shit list. He despised the idea, and even feared it, that a united front of man would be his undoing, and it was. So an entire Empire of Man is going to be oh, fuck that! So I do think Mordor and Isengard are going to be trying to, dump as much force into trying to destroy the Empire of Man. But again, you lost to a bunch of dudes and some hobbits, and it didn't go well for either side. And also, Isengard lost to trees. We'll get to trees in a bit, but yeah. So imagine what's going to be like when you lose to a bunch of people using swords and shields and arrows, to now a group of men, of an empire of men who use, gunpowder, muskets, tanks. Yeah. So, and also they have wizards. And if you thought, if Sauron thought Aragorn was going to be a problem, wait until he meets Karl Franz and gets Gallimiraz to the face. There's that. So I do think the Empire of Man would be a threat to them. The other thing is that it's not just, the Empire of Man that Mordor and Isengard would be competing with in the terms of the realm of humans. You have Cathay. You have Grand Cathay, a united front of humans who have, giant terracotta statues that can just punch whatever you have in your backlog. And dragons. They have dragons. And they also have people who are half dragon. There's that. And demigods in their own right. On top of that, you also have Kislev, a bunch of drunken northerners who will shit in the middle of a fight and then attack you with while riding a polar bear. And also there's Tsarina, because GW really wanted you to understand what references they were making, who has ice powers. Imagine Elsa, but willing to kill you. So, needless to say, the one thing that Sauron feared is in mass in the old world. Now you may be thinking, well, they have armies of their own. They have orcs and goblins and Uruk-hai, and the Nazgul. And of course, we're also going to include the Witch King of Angmar as well. So they have a reasonable force behind it, yeah. But comparatively speaking, what if they encountered the orcs from the old world? I don't think Grimgor Ironhide is going to really like these orcs. Because, he's going to they's puny. and they listen to Yumi. They's not okay. They's crumpin' boys. That's exactly how it would go. I do not think Grimgor or any of the war bosses are going to take those orcs seriously, because they're going to be small. They're small, and they're slightly smarter. So I do think like Grimgor and the other orcs would be like, they think they's better than us. Yeah, I really do think the old world orcs are going to just be like looking at the Tolkien orcs and being like, no, fuck you. Now the other thing is that the old world orcs are like, I can imagine Sauron and Saruman attempting to like trying to manipulate Grimgor and the other orcs to join them, and the orcs are just going to be like, we don't do that. Like, we do not, like, yeah. You want us to, like, serve you, even though you'll give us fights, but, like, we're not working with those orcs. Yeah. So they won't care, so they'll fight those they'll fight them, too. You also have another faction, dark faction, that will not work with them. Maybe they will. Like, actually, I think I take that back. This other dark faction probably will. And that is the Skaven. I do think some of the Skaven may join with Mordor and Isengard. Some of the clans may turn on them because A, they're all pieces of shit, and B, they'll see like the power that Mordor and Isengard are offering, and then be like, well, we'll join. Yes. So I do see that maybe some Skaven would unite. Now another race I could possibly see, but I think upper management won't allow it, is the Dark Eldar. The Dark Eldar will not work with, the Dark Eldar, also, some of them may join Mordor and Isengard, but do you really think Marathi and Malekith will allow it? No, they're not gonna, and also, I don't care what they call Malekith now in Age of Sigmar, he's Malekith, he's fucking Malekith. So Malekith and Marathi, they're not gonna work, they're not gonna allow to work with them. Maybe a tense alliance, but they're not gonna, like, bend the knee to Sauron. That's the thing, is that Sauron is going to learn real fast that he was a very big fish in a little pond. But now he's in the ocean. And guess what's in the ocean? The Chaos Gods. And Sauron was basically a god in his own right. Do you really think the Chaos Gods would allow someone like Sauron to exist? Like, there's no way that Sauron is the Chaos Gods would allow Sauron to get any more power than he would. They would just see him as like as a fucking upstart trying to, take what's theirs. This other dark power who has his own legion of armies and whatnot, and can corrupt the souls of men. Yeah, no, we're not doing that. Like, we already have a fifth Chaos God, and we fucking hate him. We fucking hate the Great Horned Rat. So, yeah, they're not going to allow another god to show up. Now, I do think that, like, some of the Norskins may join Sauron. Again, it'd be very much like, we offer you power and all that. So I do think some Norskins would turn on the Chaos Gods and join them. Same with the Skaven and maybe some of the did I say Dark Eldar earlier? I meant the Dark Elves. Jesus. Yeah, some of the Dark Elves and some of the Skaven, but it wouldn't be enough to, like, really make them a bigger threat. The thing of it is, the Chaos Gods are just not gonna let Sauron, get a place at the table. So guess what? Sauron, you get to meet Archaon, the Everchosen, and Archaon's gonna be like, yeah, I don't like the Chaos Gods either, but they're means to ends, and I'm not letting you in my kingdom, because you're just, I'm not going to let you at the seat of the table either. So Archaon would have a real problem with Sauron as well. Now, the Chaos Gods, I think, would also do something a little devious. And by a little, I mean a lot. Try to divide Isengard and Mordor, which probably wouldn't be hard. I think the Chaos Gods would, like, whisper in Saruman's ear and reveal that, like, hey, we got more power, Sauron's power, but hey, the four of us, yeah, we're really good. Like, we're gods. Look at us. Like, that guy had to serve Morgoth, who was, and You want to serve the paperboy to a god? We're right here. So maybe it stands to reason that Saruman was always obsessed with power. So the Chaos Gods could easily, manipulate that, whisper in Saruman's ear, and then Mordor's all on its own at some point. One way or another, I think the Chaos Gods could easily divide Mordor and Isengard. Another thing is, again, you have you have larger factions. One of the things that really made Sauron's rise to power in the Third Age what made it so easy for him was because the elves and dwarves were kind of diminishing. Here, while the high elves are kind of diminished in their own right, as are the dwarves, they're still out there fighting. The dwarves and the Empire of Man are tight. If the Empire of Man goes to war with Mordor and Isengard, the kingdoms of the dwarfs will join forces. The high elves will also be like, yeah, well, it's not like with the elves where we're like, oh, our powers are fleeting, so we must go beyond the sea. Nah, they're not doing that. The high elves are just going to come out of Ulthuan and be like, heard there was a fight going on. We brought the wizards. And also, you have any kind of orcs traveling through the forest. Guess what? You get to meet the fucking wood elves. Do you remember trees? They remember you. Yeah. So, again, I have to stress that, like, Mordor and Isengard would probably be a credible threat. But the thing, like I said before, Mordor and Isengard are big fish in little ponds. Now they're in the ocean and the sharks are out. So now they have to really compete to hold their own. They're already like one person has said, Middle-earth was basically the world of Middle-earth that we saw was kind of like a post-apocalyptic world. So there wasn't a lot of pushback, and stuff that was there got lucky. Here it's a different story, end times excluded. But yeah. So you guys tell me in the comments below, what do you think it would be like if Mordor and Isengard existed in Warhammer the Old World? Just comment below, let me know. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. Thank you all for voting on this poll on Patreon. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.